Once in a while, I come across something truly unique, and there's this amazing little restaurant in Brooklyn called Cafe Lily that offers something almost unknown in America. In the mid-19th century, Koreans migrated from the northeastern part of the Korean peninsula and lived on the eastern coast of Russia. Then in the 1930s, Stalin ordered the mass deportation of these Koreans by the tens of thousands to places like Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan because he suspected them of collaborating with the Japanese. And their unique approach to Korean cuisine blends Korean cooking techniques with Uzbek ingredients.
There's something about the food that kind of brings your people together. You know, reminds you like you're Korean. You know, there's some identity that's just like built into this stuff.
I came 13 years ago. She came 11 years ago. And in our country, the Korean food is very famous. It's a lot of Korean restaurants. Yeah. And people, they like Korean because it's more tasty.
It's interesting because when we sat down, there was actually only fork and knife. And they said most people eat like this.
Yeah.
Then I was like, where's the chopsticks? And they brought it out. But I'm gonna try to eat it like this first. I'm really curious about this carrot because this is the thing this is like the Korean dish that is,
Korean style.
it's gone across the former Soviet Union and across Russia. This is it's so crunchy and crispy. I mean, it's like textbook julienne over here. You were telling me that the kimchi doesn't have any fish sauce or 새우젓 in it or shrimp. It's interesting that it's a totally unique expression of Korean food that's actually been preserved for almost 80, 90 years. This is a very simple kimchi because it's only with salt, and you said a little bit of garlic and gochugaru, but no fish sauce, no shrimp. So I'm gonna.
It's fresh. It's a little fresh. We like after maybe 1-2 days.
If you think about historically where red peppers came from, actually it came from the Americas, and they were brought over by the Europeans. So Korean kimchi, as we now know it, is actually not very old. This is almost closer to what perhaps kimchi looked like hundreds of years ago, before the Europeans came and brought peppers from the Americas. It's not like really acidic in a way. It still has this slight funk, but it doesn't have that mid palate that you would normally get with kimchi. And what I like is that it's retained a lot of the crunch, a little bit more of the crunch. The flavor profile is more like bracingly spicy and it has a good amount of saltiness. So I feel like I taste more saltiness and spice instead of that vinegary fermented kind of mid palate. So I read the article in the New York Times and they were saying that this is the best thing here.
Yes.
So you have kosari or Fernbrake. These are basically ferns. This is like the stuff that you throw onto your fire to light a campfire right here. This is not something that is necessarily that treasured. And then you did something interesting. You added meat in here.
In our traditional, we were always making with the meat. Yeah.
Fernbrake or like kosari is such a strange ingredient, right? Because it tastes like branches,
Yeah.
right? Like you're eating branches, but it's more tender.
Yeah.
So do you soak it in water for a while? So you soak it in water and it tenderizes it.
And she's keeping in the water for 6 hours.
Потом варю.
And after that, she's boiling.
The texture itself is kind of slightly stringy.
Yeah.
And what I like is the meat it gives a different kind of chewiness. It feels like the perfect meld between Uzbek and Korean food. This is the kuksi, which is similar to the Korean word kuksu, which is noodles. And you have a cold, oh look at that, ooh.
Mix.
Pickled cucumbers and pickled cabbage. And you have a little bit of meat, some tomatoes, and the broth has just water and soy sauce, a little bit of sugar, okay. It's so refreshing.
This is the famous because a lot of people coming to on the summertime.
Oh my gosh. I love how refreshing and cold it is, and at the same time, because of the layer of the chili oil on top, it gives it like that pizzazz, it gives it that kick. I think every Korean mom makes their version of this. These are so big. Look at that, they're bigger than my fist. This is basically your take on chimpang, right?
Chimpang.
Chimpang, or like kind of like wangmandu. So and then this is just soy sauce and gochugaru,
Coriander.
coriander. A lot of the dishes here have coriander seed, and I don't think that that's very common in Korean food.
That's why this is different, big different because we are using everywhere.
It gives a different kind of savoriness that you don't really see in other Korean cuisine. Oh yeah. Well, first of all, I love the bun. You know, this thing it's just mildly sour.
Yeah.
Это очень трудоемко, не каждый может
You
это сделать.
know, to make that is not easy. Not all of people can make this because it's just going down. You cannot make so big.
Yeah, that's an immediate difference I taste, because a lot of times this can be very kind of bland and simple, but yours has a lot of complexity.
And you see how it's good? It's tasty good.
So
it's
plush.
very nice.
I mean, it's like air. So I do like that it's just beef, because I think it's a more pure flavor. Yes, if you have pork and beef in there, it kind of rounds out the meat.
Yes.
But this is kind of more of a punch. There's a higher cabbage to meat ratio. Like when you get a Korean version of this or a Chinese version, it has more meat, but this one has more cabbage in it. That's amazing. This is so good. I was asking Lily, you know, is this Korean? I feel like this is Uzbek, because Koreans don't really have use a lot of bell peppers unless it's kind of a newer dish. So do you eat this with rice?
Yeah, this rice.
There's something about using these crunchy vegetables like carrots and cabbage and bell pepper, but with meat and then the Korean seasoning that binds it all together. I do think that this is a very unique Korean-Uzbek dish. So you're saying that this is your creation?
Yeah, it's just
Something
my
you put
sister-
do together.
Yeah, it's my sister, because in Uzbekistan, the meat they usually making with the potato, and meat and onion. That's it. But you see, she's making with the vegetable.
Well, I love how substantial it tastes because of all the meat, the fat from the meat kind of comes out and just glistening with all that fatty flavor. Yeah. And yet it's balanced out by the Korean gochugaru, and there's like a brightness to it that makes it just so addictive. You want to have more. Like, this is something that I could eat at home and just give me a pile of rice, give me that. and I'll
Yes,
just-
yeah, exactly.
All day long. I don't need anything else. There's so many different textures, different crunchiness, different meatiness. And I love that there are flavors and elements of Korean food and just like ideas of Korean food preparation. I wish you guys had this in LA. I would eat this all the time. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more of K-Town, click right here.